What is up, GOAT World? It is me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another GOAT format video. A few weeks ago, we had GGP Orlando, and I had the pleasure and opportunity to be there, and it was a fantastic, phenomenal event. Oh my goodness, from the bottom of my heart, thank you everyone who made that event possible. You know, shout out to Shaggy, shout out to KP, shout out to everyone who came all around from the GOAT World to participate in that event, and I'm telling you, it completely reinvigorated and reignited my love for this game. Meeting people from the community and being outside and playing this game face to face, and just the vibe was immaculate. It was outstanding the entire time. That entire event was live streamed on this very same YouTube channel. You can go check that thing out at your you can check it out anytime you want, but it was phenomenal. And I know we've been lacking in coverage, but I just want to go ahead and give you my thoughts and opinions on the top 8 deck. Let's show you the rest of the top 8 on this channel. We've done deck profiles from most of the top 8, but I'm going to cover them all. And then if there's more decks that you want to see or any other things you want to see from this event, make sure you get in the comment section and let me know that as well. And as you're down there, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to this channel. All right, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop on into it. There were 76 duelists showing up to this event. It's one of the largest GOAT Grand Prix we've had in North America. Like I said before, it was a spectacular success. I've been to 3 GGPs so far, and I plan on continuing to go to more. And each one is just building on the next one, and it's just becoming something that is real and sustainable. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I enjoyed meeting everyone that I was able to interact with at that venue as well. It was fantastic. Shout out to Versus Games and everyone who made that thing a phenomenal success. Okay, coming in the top 8, there was top 8, top 4, second, and first. This was a 7 rounds of Swiss into a single elimination, and we got top 8 with Clay Vision, who is playing the Go Control strategy. Again, the deck profile is up on this channel. I'm gonna give you some of my thoughts and opinions on this deck. So Go Control, I believe, is back in a major way. I think it's a very solid deck in our metagame, but this build in particular just tells me that this duelist just really did not enjoy the Warrior strategy. They elected to go with 3 Gravekeeper Spy, Miss Tomato, and triple copies of Scapegoat. I think that is insane. I think that's nuts. I don't think I've seen anything like that before. In my own personal opinion, I think that's a bit much. That's a bit much, but still, I think it's very solid too at the same time. Maybe go more Zaborgs in there, more tributes to cash in on those GK Spies and maybe those Mrs. Tomatoes. If you are going to play a deck like this, I would caution you to keep in mind that how the Scapegoats are going to interact with those GK Spies and how the Scapegoats are going to interact with those Mystic Tomatoes. You know, there could be opportunities for them to bring out their breaker or something, and now you have a decision to make. Do you play your Scapegoats and then you can't trigger off your Mystic Tomato, or vice versa? You know, so that's just more things you have to think about. But this duelist clearly put in the time and it has adjusted their playing style to fit that. 2 creature swaps I think is also pretty awesome in this deck with the main deck Assure Prix, triple Scapegoats. I think it is really cool. Main deck Mind Control. In the side deck, things also continue to get pretty interesting. Double Karibo, I think that is probably some overspill from what happened in GGP Chicago. There was Stein all over the place, so maybe this duelist was not trying to get OTK'd, FTK. They also did mention that if they felt the opportunity, that it is, at the end of the day, it is a dark monster and it is level 1, so you can't incorporate that with Metamorphosis. They do have a 3rd copy of that in the side deck as well. I think this deck is pretty solid. If you're going to play a deck like this, you really have to be cognizant of what you're doing and when you're putting down what when, because a lot of that can kind of backfire on you. But still, I like to see Go Control being played. I'm glad it's back, and shout out to this duelist. Again, if you have any questions about this deck, make sure you go check out that deck profile and also reach out to this duelist in the Discord. They might be able to help you out if you plan on playing a deck like this. All right, moving on to another top 8 deck, and this is going to be from a duelist that goes by the name of Michael Lux. And I didn't even know that this duelist was in this tournament or in this event until Chris Perovic, shout out to him, came up and let us all know that this duelist is a Shonen Jump champion in his own right, showing up to this event, heard about it through the grapevine, maybe through Facebook or through some type of other word of mouth, and ended up coming to this event. Hasn't played GOAT format this entire time. Hasn't played GOAT format, net deck to deck, picked it up, slapped it in there, and came on and got to a top 8 finish of this event. I thought that was one of the most incredible stories I've heard in a while. You know, seeing these old school legacy champion players coming on back. He said he hasn't touched a GOAT format deck or a GOAT format duel in almost 20 years, you know, and just happened to dust off the cobwebs and hop in there and knock it out. I thought that was pretty cool, playing this Warrior strategy, keeping the upstarts in and Sakuretsu armors. Triple Sakuretsu, again, making a strong call against Warriors based on Clay Vision's deck and Michael Lux's deck. I think everyone was thinking Warriors were going to be all over the place, including the main deck, DD Assailant. Maybe that was something that they wanted to play as a very familiar card from back in those days. Sakuretsu Armor, triple Sakuretsu Armor, Book of Moon, double Dust Shoe, and Solemn Judgment. I think this deck is also really solid. The Warrior strategy is up in a major way. I think it's a solid pick for any type of tournament like this because it's going to be very robust on the point of attack. You know what I'm saying? It's very simple. Like, simplify game state and get in there. So I think Warriors is a great call, especially if you're kind of rusty, you haven't played in a while, you don't want to begin to know GOAT meta kind of thing. You can get into some Warriors, just bash, 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 and get it in. Also in the side deck, I think this is a pretty cool little situation. I think SDL was doing some stuff like this. Maybe that's the deck that this duelist net deck from. I didn't quite get the information of where they got that deck from or who they copied it from, but I think triple Mobius, triple Spy, triple Decree coming on in the side deck. And we saw that go to great effect throughout the tournament as they were on stream. You saw, because that's the last thing that you expect to see. And being unpredictable is going to sometimes get you wins in certain situations, and you'll never expect to see Royal Decree getting flipped over in a Warrior strategy. So maybe reduce some of the trap cards, adding more monsters, adding those spells that you have in there, your Soul Exchange, Brain Control, kind of turn to like almost like a Soul Control Monarch kind of deck at post side. I don't hate it, and just still being very aggressive. I think that's pretty neat, and it clearly worked out for this duelist. So I'm so happy and fortunate to see them having great success, and now they're back into the game. Maybe they can play more online, and maybe they can get more into it, and I think that can be really cool. That always warms my heart. Seeing these old school legacy champions coming back is always great. So it's never too late. You guys can do it too. All right, again, huge shout out to Michael Lux. Thank you for your participation, and I'm glad to see you're back in the GOAT world. Warms my heart. All right, moving on to another top 8 deck, another legacy GOAT coming back into GOAT format. This is another crazy coincidence that we have Imbode aka Martial Bode Zuleta. I can't read. I'm sorry. I can't read the name, but this duelist apparently was the #1 rated player in Florida in the time of GOAT format. Kind of took a huge break and is starting to find their way back into GOAT format too, playing this Chaos Turbo deck featuring the Spirit Reaper in there, featuring double dust shoot, no solemn, double break, double jar. Again, this is another fantastic player from way back coming back in. And another funny thing about this duelist is that they told me this story, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. Hopefully I don't get too mad, but about 20 years ago, this duelist sat down face to face with the eventual winner of this tournament 20 years ago, made a severe misplay, lost that match 20 years ago, and just completely quit the game. Just from that mistake. 20 years later at this event, they paired up again and they had to play again. And this duelist actually defeated that Danny Fitzgerald in Swiss and had to get some redemption off. I thought that was so funny. I thought that was really cool that happened. So it's really interesting to see. For me, I think that is a really interesting thing to see, and I'm glad to have. But again, this deck I think is going to be Chaos Turbo. You guys know Chaos Turbo. You guys know what it is. Keeping Spirit Reaper in the main deck with only one Night Ass. I don't absolutely hate it, especially if you are hedging for the Warriors, which apparently everybody got the memo that the Warriors were out there and they were going to be present. And having Spirit Reaper in there could help you with that, keeping Mirror Force in, keeping Torrential Tribute in. I don't hate that. In the side deck, you got Ashura and Wangu, which is absolutely hilarious. You have the 2 Zombiris, 2 Kaiko the Ghost Destroyer, triple Sakuretsu Armor. So again, very solid Chaos Turbo deck, very solid player. So that's double legacy player coming out of retirement to make some noise in this IRL space. I think that is just phenomenal. But shout out to you, Imbode. Martial, I'm glad you're back as well, and congratulations on your top performance. Okay, for the last top 8 deck list, we have a duelist that goes by the name of Nathan Sewall. Nathan Sewall kind of picked up the mantle of the relinquished Turbo deck, and instead elected to play like a relinquished Chaos Control deck. And again, I like this deck too. I like them all. I love the creativity behind this. It's a deck that a lot of people have tried, but again, the ratio still might not be all the way there for whatever you're trying to do. But this worked for Nathan in this particular event, coming on in with the double relinquish, the single ritual spell, the Scapegoats and Meta now are going to find their way into the main deck with the double wing blast. Kind of what Wave Mint has been doing, but kind of electing to do it in their own way, playing in more of a control type deck. I don't absolutely hate this. Got the Night Asses in there. The Magician of Fate still going to be in the main deck, so still more flippy on the turn one. I know Wave Mint kind of made it a little more aggressive on the turn one, but this one has a little more flip capability, so it's a little more defensive. But as we shift over to the side deck, you can see that Nathan has elected to go way more aggressive in the side deck. You have like an entire warrior aggressive package coming on in. Maybe you can assume that they're going to have more flip hate because you showed so many flips, and they'll keep that stuff in, and now you can go more aggressive on the approach game 2 and beyond. But the one and one nobleman, I think that's old technology. I think we got to go 2 noblemen. But again, maybe the call was warriors. Everyone was, as you can see with all these decks, all 4 of the decks we've seen so far, everyone's making this very direct warrior call, and that's probably what Nathan did, electing to go with just 1 and 1. I still think two is the way. Chaos Turbo is the very best deck, so having 2 knocks, you got to have it. So, but I don't know about that. But still, I think it's a solid deck. Solid performance from this duelist. I'm glad they got a top 8 playing some spice. So tell me what you think about this deck. It's one of my favorite ones that we've had in the top cut so far. All right, moving on. Now we're going into the top 4. We saw these decks as well. This is going to be the Shogun Lopez. He did his deck profile on the channel. Very standard Chaos Turbo deck. Going with double Solemn, double Saku in the main deck is a little bit of a different call. Again, another duelist. This is the 5th straight deck hedging for warriors. So that might be something to think about as we're going into the end of the season, is that everyone is prepping heavily for warriors, because that matchup can just absolutely Exodia you without question. So preparing for the warriors in your main deck might be something to that, because clearly they're getting success. But I still think Chaos Turbo is a deck you should be hedging for, perhaps, and he might have a little bit more success. That's still a pretty good deck. But coming on, he's got the double Saku in the main deck. That's pretty much, everything else seems pretty much cut and dry. You got the card destruction in the main deck. Going back to that, you have triple kinetic, again, still really going after the warrior strategy, the aggressive decks. You got double Kaiku, and you have this goat control package coming on in the side. So playing like a transition game with a goat control type engine in the side deck, still going heavy warriors in the side deck. I think this might be the play. Coming on in with triple walk. This was an IRL event, so time is going to be an issue. Triple walk, maybe that's a reason why that's in there. And also there was quite a bit of burn in this thing as well. So again, huge shout out to Shogun. Tell us what you think about this deck, man. Tell us what you think about what he's doing. I think it's pretty cool. Again, pretty standard Chaos Turbo deck by all regards. All right, moving on to another top 4 deck. We have the Most Unclean. The Most Unclean, aka Dylan Moreland. Again, he did a deck profile up on the channel. Go check that out as well. Coming on in with that disgusting, nasty Chain E burn deck. This deck is grotesque, man. Every time I see this deck, every time I face off against a deck like this, I just get so upset, because it's just anxiety producing. When you got that Chain E on you and it's burning you down, and you just can't really do anything, you get to a point you can't put any cards on the field. You got this koala burning you up. You got Ojamas all over the place. It's just a mess. But you know what I'm saying? It still takes a lot of skill to use. It's very consistent as well. I think this is another deck that, although I don't like playing against it, I think it's very important to this metagame to continue to play it, because as you can see, some players are starting to move away from their burn preparation in the side deck in order to prepare for more matchups that they're more likely going to face. You know, the Warriors and the Chaos Turbo, etc. So they're losing those slots, and that opens up spots for decks like this to come in. So decks like this keep the metagame fresh and honest, and I'm glad that he played this deck, and I'm glad it got top performance. So if you're looking for a deck to play and you don't want to play Chaos Turbo, maybe you can become a burn player too. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But again, solid burn deck. Going with those koalas, kind of hedging for Chaos Turbo in that main deck, because they like to keep those hands. You burn them down. They got the Nightmare Wheels in their triple copy. You lock it down, more burn damage, chain energy, and you got the triple Giant Grenade. Solid deck. In the side deck, having Breaker and Snatch Steal coming on in that burn side deck, you don't see that too often. I wonder what the results were of that. Having those knocks in the side deck, I think that's pretty cool too. Mind Control and Amazoness Archers. I think this is a solid deck. So tell us what you think about this burn deck, and we'll see how it is. Again, check that out and go talk to Dylan about it as well. Okay. Moving on to this is second place. So now we're in second place. Good friend and homie and tournament organizer Shaggy Powers. You know, shout out to this dude. I mentioned it earlier, but this event probably wouldn't happen if it weren't for the heroic efforts of this duelist. He gave a lot of time and energy to make sure this event was a great success. He was a great host, helping everybody out. and also performed very well in this event, playing this extremely cool deck. Again, check out his deck profile, and he's going to probably make more videos about it as well. So he's going to be putting some stuff about that later, so stay tuned for that if you want to see more of Shaggy. I think he's a great person to talk about this deck in more detail, but I think it's a really cool strat. As you know, this duelist did make it to the top 4 of the GOAT Format World Championship. Playing the Earth strategy is a strategy that fits his play style very well. To see it come on in and playing it in this manner, I think it's very interesting, because this, and I've been saying that too. I'm like, this deck, the Earth deck is good, but I think it's severely limited in its capability. There's got to be Earth plus something else. There's got to be Earth plus something else. Earth return, Earth burn, Earth Monarch, Earth something. It's got to be Earth plus something. And I think maybe this is the something. Maybe you can go Earth with like a control engine in the side deck, or Earth with other good cards as well. You know, you got the Spies in there, you got the Faith in there, you got the Abyss Soldier in there, you got like a Sanguine type thing. It's a cool, I think maybe this could be the way that it goes. And it only starts if people are continuing to trying different things out and seeing what works. And he's put a lot of thought into this, and I think it is pretty neat. I think it's a pretty neat deck. Again, keeping that Amazoness Archer. Amazoness Archer has been featured in quite a few of these decks. I think Amazoness Archer stock is going through the roof, so check out that card as another anti-burn measure. Back to the Wombats, on the Tiger, on the Jiu-Jitsu Master. Again, he spoke very highly of this card too. I think it's pretty neat. Catch people off guard. Being unpredictable is huge in this game. And you'll never see the goats coming. You'll never see the meta coming. You'll never see the suit coming. You'll never see the return coming. You know, it's a lot of different things that this deck can do, especially going into that game 3. Game 2, you saw Scapegoat meta. What if he takes that stuff back out and now you got Shures in your deck? What are you going to do? You're fighting ghosts the whole time. So it's a lot of things you could do between that game 1, game 2, game 3 kind of thing based on the way you side it. I think this is a really cool deck. So again, stay tuned, see what Shaggy's got to say about this deck. Should be coming out more. Maybe he can make some videos, something. Maybe he can come out of the channel. I don't know. We can talk to Shaggy about it, see if he wants to come through. But I think that is dope. But again, huge shout out to Duelist, one of my good close homies in this game, and I'm glad to see that he's having some more success and finally get an invitation to the GOAT Format World Championship. I think that is cool. All right, moving on to number 1. Back at it like he never left, back and better than ever. We have 2-time GOAT Grand Prix winner, you know, all around fantastic Yu-Gi-Oh player, Lucas the Heretic, back again. And it's ridiculous. 5 invites or something like that for this season again. So that's back-to-back multiple invite seasons for this duelist, playing this warrior strategy probably better than a lot of duelists can do it. He's on a very short list of best duelists to ever lace him up. You know what I'm saying? He's done everything that you want to do. He's got the major GOAT format titles now, so you can't even say that. He's done a great service to the game. Playing the Warriors, man, back on it, kind of like how Bounty's been doing it. Got the Reaper in there, got the Faith in there, triple shoot in there, double Dust, double Saku. Still, again, hedging. Looks like you can play against Warriors, and you can play against Turbo very easily with this main deck. In the side deck, you still got more Chaos Turbo hate coming on in. You have the Spies in there, you got the Mobius in there, you got the Smasher in there. It's just a lot of stuff, man. I like this deck. Again, if you go check the interview that this duelist made about that as well in the deck profile, you can see that they have a Tsukiyomi in there. They said they didn't really vibe with it. I don't know, man. I think Tsukiyomi could be viable in a deck like this, especially if you're hedging for Warriors a lot. Like, it seems like literally every single person in this tournament was hedging for Warriors, and it didn't matter because a Warrior player won anyway, and an aggressive player got second place. So all that hedging still clearly it didn't matter, as Xing Zin, who is going to also be featured in the side deck. So hedge all you want, and it still seems like if you have the skills and you can play this aggressive strategy well, you're gonna continue to have success. So there might be something to be said about that. But I just wanted to do a real quick video and give you a wrap up about that tournament, give you my thoughts about the top 8 decks. There were more decks in this thing. Maybe we can get more. Just let us know in the comments what you guys want to see, and we can probably do most of that stuff. Okay, but before I let you go, there is a lot of events that are happening in the next coming days, weeks, and months. If you want to participate in the GOAT Grand Prix Detroit has just extended their amount of duels that can sign up. So go ahead and check that out if you're in the Detroit area. GGP Detroit is coming. Also, we have PWCQ number 43. It's going to be taking place this Sunday. So go check that out if you want to play PWCQ number 43. PWCQ number 44 will be on the 16th of September, and then GGP Detroit will be on the 23rd of September. So it's a lot of dueling opportunities coming up before we make our final push into the GOAT Format World Championship. So I hope to see you all around the GOAT world. But that's all I have for today. As always, I'm JDZ. I play GOATs. Till the next time, shout out to all the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.